We have all done it. You walk into a room, gauge what the people in it expect you to be, and quietly fold away the parts of yourself that don't fit. You calculate the cost of biting your tongue, softening your personality, and shrinking your ambition to keep everyone else comfortable. The poem, The Integrity of the Sacred Mold, provides a precise psychological toolkit for breaking this cycle. It identifies the exact points of pressure where we begin to trade our identity for social safety. The core problem is the fragile frame. People construct a rigid symmetry for you, but when your actual asymmetrical self naturally pushes past those boundaries, the reaction is quiet death. You meet silent rejection for breaking their imagination. This leaves you with an agonizing choice. Do you contort yourself back into a shape that pleases them to keep the peace? Or do you stand tall in your own nature, knowing it might cost the relationship entirely? That silent tension runs beneath almost every human connection. The uncomfortable reality is that maintaining a frictionless peace with others routinely demands the deliberate, daily suppression of your own nature. Yielding to that pressure has a specific mechanical breakdown in the poem. It describes the act of conformity as trading your ordained breath for fleeting peace. You are giving up the life source you were designed to have, just to smooth over a temporary awkwardness. The math of conformity never actually works out. The poem notes the futility of warping yourself to please a passing dream. Shrinking your personality might buy you a quiet afternoon, but it never secures permanent stability. You are trying to satisfy an illusion. Maintaining that illusion demands the active, continuous crushing of your own nature. To stay inside a mold that was never built for you, you have to reconcile the constant friction between who you are and who you're pretending to be. While you exhaust yourself trying to survive inside that tiny space, the people who built the frame will simply move the goalposts. Their expectations will shift, and their demands for your compliance will only increase. Conformity is a rapidly depreciating asset. The harder you work to warp yourself into someone else's expectation, the less of your authentic self survives to actually participate in the relationship at all. The poem strips away the romanticized language we often use to justify these compromises. The text states it plainly. If maintaining a connection requires the death of what is true about you, you are not experiencing love. What you are experiencing is someone else's fear. People who demand you fit their image are driven by a need for control. They mistake proximity for affection, enforcing ties that demand painful overlap rather than allowing two independent people to simply exist near each other. The narrator of the poem draws a clear boundary here. They don't demand that the other person change or lose her way. They aren't trying to control the controller. They simply demand the right to stand as they were made and answer for their own life. True integrity does not require a counterattack. You don't have to break someone else's frame to escape it. You only need to quietly and absolutely assert ownership over your own space. That quiet assertion leads to a stark conclusion. The narrator states it with complete clarity. Better their absence than a borrowed breath. There is no way to sugarcoat the reality of this choice. The moment you set an authentic boundary and stop performing, you guarantee that some people will be highly offended by your true shape, and they will actively walk away. You are left with two mutually exclusive options. You can choose to be widely admired for a fake version of yourself, what the poem calls a quiet living death, or you can accept the risk of isolation to finally stand in your honest form. Genuine love makes space for what you were designed to be. It prioritizes the growth of the person as they actually exist, rather than enforcing a cage built to keep a specific, pleasing image nearby. Look closely at the connections in your life. Identify the fragile frames people have quietly built around you. Then, drop the borrowed breath, step out of the box, and stand unapologetically in the integrity of your own sacred mold.